On the morning of April 7, 2023, Deunrae Livingston was lying on a couch in a Springdale apartment when a man rushed into the home and shot him before fleeing the scene. Livingston would die later that day at a nearby hospital. Some suspect details in the case were released in the aftermath of the shooting, and police have some idea of where the shooter may have been before and after the incident. They've even developed a person of interest in the case, though they haven't publicly said who that is. But to this day, more than 2 years later, there's been no arrest and no suggestion of a motive for killing. Was this a random act of violence or a targeted killing? Who would have wanted Deunrae Livingston dead, and why? Why haven't authorities been able to bring anyone to justice for the killing? This is Crime in the Ozarks, a Northwest Arkansas Democrat-Gazette podcast. Make sure to follow us at NWA Demgaz on Instagram and share your opinion on this case. If you're listening in the Spotify app, swipe up and comment below. This episode contains discussion of murder. Please consider this how and when you listen. Now, let's get into the case. Part 1. Who was Deunrae Livingston? Deunrae Livingston was born February 26, 1991, in Dumas, Arkansas. His Facebook page is still online and stated he was from Mitchellville. He attended Dumas High School in addition to studying some at Arkansas State University in Jonesboro. His father described Deunrae as a hardworking young man, a fast learner, and someone who never gave anybody trouble. He added his son loved his 2 children and family and spent lots of time with his niece and nephew. That smile he had will still your heart, his father said.
He was the guy that anybody could go to and talk to if they help any kind of, he was a guy that was loving, caring, all that good stuff. So, he was an humble guy, and he was a church-going guy as well. When he come home, he would go to church with us, and he just sit around. He was a family guy.
Deunrae and Jenny Strother had 2 children together. Jenny spoke to reporter Ron Wood and remembered Deunrae as a good man, a good father, and a good friend.
He was a pretty good guy. He was raised in the church. So no matter what he went through, it always led him back to God either way. That was one of that's like his core values, and that's one of the reasons I loved him the way I did. We actually started, dating in high school. And we had been together all those years. And then we ended up having children. We went to college together. We grew up together pretty much. Life happened and things over the years, we kind of were off and on. At the time he passed away, we weren't together, but he was living with me. He's an excellent father, super passionate father. Loved his children very, very much. He was an excellent friend. The people that was his friend, they were his friend to the end, and he would go over the moon for them.
In fact, the Facebook page still visible online for Deunrae shows more than 4,500 people on his list of friends. A search through the social media site for his name shows numerous posts by friends and family mourning his passing in the aftermath of his killing. In his own social media posts, Deunrae shared pictures of himself with friends and family, reflections on life, jokes, music videos, and so on. Until late 2021, he posted one thing or another regularly and publicly, but then he either took his account more private or stopped posting on a regular basis. 2021 is also the year he found himself facing some serious issues with law enforcement. Deunrae had pled guilty in 2019 to a felony drug possession charge, but there was no suggestion that he was found with anything more than a personal use amount of anything illegal. He received a 12-month suspended sentence and had to pay fines and court costs, but avoided jail time. In January of 2021, Deunrae was arrested again in connection with drug accusations, and this time the charges were more serious and more numerous. Police served a search warrant on his apartment on North Oak Street on suspicion he was selling marijuana and narcotic pills, according to an affidavit filed in the case. Detectives reported finding more than 13 ounces of marijuana, separated into bags and labeled for sale, 3.7 grams of cocaine, Xanax, and other pills, digital scales, and 2 handguns. Now he was facing multiple charges of drug possession with purpose of deliver, possession of firearms by certain persons, and a theft by receiving charge related to a firearm. In August of 2022, under a plea deal agreement between his attorney and prosecutors, Deunrae pled guilty to most of the charges and was sentenced to 6 years of probation and assessed fines and court costs. His legal troubles weren't over, though. While one case was being resolved, another was filed. In March of 2022, Deunrae was accused in an affidavit of 3 counts of delivery of fentanyl less than 1 gram. Even at less than 1 gram, the charge carried a possible sentence of 10 to 40 years, or life in prison, if convicted. Deunrae pled not guilty to the charge in July of 2022. A pair of continuances in the case resulted in his trial date being postponed. He had a status hearing set April 11, 2023, but just 4 days before he could appear in court, Deunrae was gunned down in Springdale. Part 2. The killing. Police have released limited details on the killing of Deunrae Livingston, but here's what they've said. A woman called police around 9:31 a.m., April 7, 2023, saying a man had been shot in 1702 Powell Street in Springdale. The woman said the man had been lying on a couch in the apartment when there was a knock at the door. She said she answered the door and another man she did not know pushed his way into the apartment and shot Deunrae. Jenny Strother confirmed to us that the woman was her. She had recently returned home from walking her kids to school when the incident occurred. Jenny added she had no idea who would have wanted to hurt Deunrae. Upon arrival, officers found Deunrae injured inside the apartment, and Springdale Fire Department personnel arrived and took him to Northwest Medical Center, where he was pronounced deceased later that day. His death certificate states his cause of death was multiple gunshot wounds. The woman described the shooter as a black man, around 50 years old, between 5 feet 11 inches and 6 feet tall. Multiple witnesses described the shooter as an older black man wearing a reflective lime green vest and dark blue sweatpants. He was said also to be wearing a hooded sweatshirt, but the color was unknown. Detectives think the shooter may have been in company of a young black female before the killing. Investigators believe the suspect left on foot after the murder and changed his clothing. After that, police believe he may have gone to the Casey's General Store at 4751 West Don Tyson Parkway in Springdale, and then the Collier Drugstore at 5201 Willow Creek Drive in Johnson. Part 3. What comes next? Police say a person of interest has been developed in Deunrae's killing, but an arrest has not been made. Among the questions that remain are who wanted the young father of 2 dead and why.
This was just out of the blue because actually Deun has spoke to his mom, and so she came to me and she was telling me that he wanted to come back home, and the reason is so he could, get back in church, and find he was talking about going back to school, and better education.
Yeah.
He was a smart individual.
Police and Deunrae's family are hoping someone will come forward with information about the killing and will help authorities answer those questions and find and arrest Deunrae's killer.
I want the public to know that he may just have been another person to them, but to my children, he was the world and their father. And I know a lot of times people don't want to say anything or come forward with things they know for other reasons. But when it's all said and done, that was someone's son, that was someone's father, that was someone's best friend, that was someone's nephew. He was something to a lot of people. And my kids no longer have a father, unfortunately. So at this point, the only closure or thing that we do have to hold on to, or that I can fight for him, for my children, is justice. Yeah. And I feel like it's only fair.
Jenny added, Deunrae's death still affects her sons. Her oldest son struggles with it more than her youngest. Her youngest, she says, is a carbon copy of his father. For more than 2 years after Deunrae passed away, his sons wouldn't play sports, even though they both had played football before, and the youngest had also played soccer.
Football was a big thing with their dad, but I couldn't get him to play any sports, and I didn't want to force it on him. But this summer, our youngest son had saved a paper from school. When they got out of school for the summer, they give them like a registration form with a code on it to sign up for fall football. Uh-huh. He saved that paper all summer, and he come to me, he was like, Mom, I don't have a lot longer left, but I think I'm ready, and I've decided I'm ready to play football. I don't know, it's just football to him or probably anybody else, but it means a lot more to me because that was something really special to his dad. And in honor of his dad, we were actually able to get Jaden the same number. So not only does he have the same number as his dad had in football in high school, he also plays the same exact position. By coincidence, that was nothing that we planned or knew of, but he plays the same position with the same number.
Now, Jenny is focused more on keeping her son's father's memory alive in their minds.
So I just try to keep him alive and remind him, let him watch videos, hear his voice, so they never forget.
For his father, the fact that his son was killed on Good Friday just adds to the sting of his loss. His father said, "We would love to have justice for our son, Deunrae Livingston. He was wrongfully killed in his home in the year of 2023 on Good Friday. We're asking every single person that knows anything about his death, please come forward." Police echo that sentiment, asking for anyone with details about the killing to call Springdale Police Department and speak with Detective Elizabeth Whitaker about case 23-21390. The department can be reached by phone at 479-751-4542. To learn more about this case, read Ron Wood's upcoming article set to publish Sunday, October 5th, in the Northwest Arkansas Democrat-Gazette newspaper and replica edition, as well as online at nwaonline.com. Until next time, this has been Crime in the Ozarks. Thanks for listening to Crime in the Ozarks. This episode was written by Chris Swindle, and I'm your host, Diana Campos. This case is reported on at nwaonline.com by Ron Wood. You can also keep an eye out for future developments by subscribing to the Northwest Arkansas Democrat-Gazette newspaper, our social media accounts, newsletter, and the YouTube channel. If there's one thing we'll never stop doing, is keeping a watchful eye on crime in the Ozarks.